shows. I'm Felicia and I like scary movies, and we're still in October in my 31 days of Halloween, and today I am talking about some of my favorite horror shows that are on streaming services right now. I wish there was like a better way to say that. Like, it's so much easier to say like horror TV shows or like horror shows, but I'm trying to be specific that these are like online shows. We need better lingo. Somebody make it. So I'm going to go through 3 shows that I really like that have come out pretty recently, and then I'm going to throw in a couple of older ones for you just if you need more to watch. So the first one that I just finished watching literally today was the new show Marianne on Netflix. This is a French horror show that freaking scared the bejesus out of me. This is a show that it's by this guy Samuel Baudin. It's a French show, so it's all in French. I watched it with subtitles, which I actually kind of love. Like, the French accent is like very calming, even though you're watching this horrifying thing. But anyways, it is about a horror writer named Emma. She's written all these horror novels about this character, Marianne. And it turns out Marianne was a woman that was haunting her in her nightmares as a teenager and sort of attached herself to Emma. And then Emma has to return to her hometown as an adult to fight Marianne. And that's sort of the premise of the show. Also, just for funsies, Stephen King tweeted about this show, so I'll read you his tweet real quick. He said, "If you're one of those sickos, like me, who enjoys being scared, Marianne, Netflix, will do the job. There are glints of humor that give it a Stranger Things vibe," which was a very strange comparison for me, but I'll get to that. And it says, "It also has a, I say with all due modesty, a Stephen King vibe," which I was like, that's nice. I don't really see the Stranger Things vibe. I can understand maybe where he's getting that from, but I don't really feel that. But I love this show. This is actually a show that I literally watched slowly because I was so amazed by it. It is beautifully shot, beautifully acted. All the characters are so French. I don't know. All the characters I felt like I so connected with throughout this show, and the scares are really good. Like, I had actual nightmares about Marianne last night. And I am not someone, I do get nightmares, but I don't typically get nightmares about movies I watch or shows. It's not typically like I watch something scary and have a nightmare. It's typically like I have a lot of anxiety and so I have nightmares. Do you know what I mean? But this show literally gave me nightmares. And I think maybe why is because the way in which they're scaring me is not the traditional American scares that I'm very used to watching. It was a different formula and a different vibe that really just got to me. And while I was watching, I was like, I also watched this mostly at night by myself. I did finish it today during the day, but it is terrifying, I think. I mean, and maybe I'm hyping it up too much and you're watching, you'll just be like, this isn't even scary. But I really was terrified. The imagery and just some of the witchcraft stuff that's in this movie, the demon stuff that's in this movie, I found extremely unsettling and terrifying. And I, loved it because I'm a freak. They also ended the season with something that made you feel like there would be a second season, so there may be. I don't really know if it needs it. It just felt like such a perfect series to me. Like, I don't know if it needs a second season, but hey, if they make one, I'll watch it. But that's one I would highly recommend to you guys if you haven't seen it yet. It was actually being recommended to me on Netflix a lot, which is why I finally ended up watching it. I was like, they really want me to watch this scary show, I'll just click on it, and it was spectacular. The next one I want to talk about is called The Typewriter. This is a ghost series. It takes place in India. I did watch it with the English dubs over it, and I was not bothered by it. Like, I thought it was fine. This was created by, and I'm so sorry if I'm going to say this name wrong, but Sujoy Ghosh. And it basically revolves around a haunted house and a group of kids that are obsessed with ghosts and this book that came out of this house, and they want to sort of be ghost hunters, I guess. And it's really good. I will say the thing that got me, the first scene of the series, I have never seen anything like that. Like, it actually kind of blew my mind. It was a particular kind of scare that I did not see coming, and I have never seen anything else like it. So it gave me this hope that the rest of the series would be very inventive and creative, and sometimes it was. There were points in the series where it gets a little bit dull, but overall I think it was very good. I also just love the kids in this movie. They are like freaking adorable. They are, especially the little girl. Her name is Sarah Gesawat. She is so talented and adorable and does such a great job. She's such a like a leader in this movie, and I just really liked her a lot. This was also a really cool thing for me to see because I've never seen an Indian horror movie before or a horror TV show, and I'm not very familiar with Indian television, and so this was all sort of new to me, and I thought they did such an amazing job. And it was a similar thing with Marianne, where I was like, it's fun to see how other cultures scare. Like that is interesting to me. It's in the same way where comedy is very different amongst cultures. It also seems like horror is different among cultures, and that's kind of a cool thing to explore. And the last one I want to mention is actually more of a comedy, but it is also spooky, and that is Los Spookies. I love Los Spookies. I made my dad watch it. I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm half Costa Rican, and so I made my dad watch this with me when I was home, and I was like, we have to watch Los Spookies. And he watched it, and he thought it was very funny. I think it's hilarious. It's a show on HBO. Fred Armisen is in it, and he's also a writer and producer on it, but it's basically about this group of people that love scary stuff, and they stage paranormal, sci-fi, etc. events for clients. Like, their business is called Los Spookies. I'll just give away some of the first episode for you, but they're basically hired out by a priest to stage an exorcism so he can like up his popularity as a priest. And each episode is like something like that. Like, somebody hires Los Spookies to stage some sort of horror themed something, like a fake thing, so that they can get something out of it, whatever that may be. And it is just such a funny concept that I've never thought of before, and the comedy for me is so funny. For this one, I did do subtitles, and I thought it was great. The characters in this one, so Ronaldo's sort of the leader of the group, then you have Ursula, who sort of deals with like the logistics of the scares. You have Andres, who is the heir to a chocolate empire, and it's like very broody and sad. Love him. And then we have Tati, and Tati is sort of like this character that they use as, I think on Wikipedia they said, they said the group's test dummy. So whenever they stage one of these like paranormal whatever events, they make her like be the girl being exorcised, or like be the scary monster, or and so she's always like in these costumes, just like, it's so freaking funny. I'm sorry if I'm giving too much away, but you should really watch it. I watched it while I was home because my parents have HBO Go. But if you can't watch it on there might be other places online to find it, but it's really, really good. And the other two shows I'm going to casually mention really quick is, so The Haunting of Hill House on Netflix, which I've already reviewed on this channel, so I'm not going to go into it, but I love that. I think it's a masterpiece. Also, speaking of Shirley Jackson, they have just put the We Have Always Lived in the Castle on Netflix, which is a movie based on the Shirley Jackson book, and it was pretty good. I actually really enjoyed it, so that's also on there if you want to see that. And the other one I will say is Slasher Season 1. That's on Netflix. Season 2 and 3 are like meh for me, but Season 1 is like excellent horror. I really liked it. I thought it was scary. I thought it was fun. Definitely worth watching. And that's it, guys. I'm also about to start watching Creepshow. I haven't seen an episode yet, so I'm very excited to dive into that. I know it's going to be amazing. Everyone's saying that's great. But other than that, just go ahead and tell me your favorite horror shows down in the comments so I can check them out. And yeah, have a nice scream. Bye.